Assalamu alaikum. Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? Can I please ask my brothers who are standing on the back, can you please be seated? There is plenty of seats available. Please sit down. Thank you. Please sit down. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm the secretary of the mosque, Chaudhry Abdul Rashid, and it is my pleasure to be your host this evening. Your host is in fact the mosque, but I'm the one who will be helping to run the proceedings along clearly as we possibly can. So this evening, the event that we are holding this evening, there are four main objectives of this event. First of all, by the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is the 70th year of the creation of Pakistan, and we are here to celebrate that. Secondly, we are here to say farewell to our dear friend, Consul General Ahmad Maroof Sahab, who has finished his tenure in Birmingham and will be leaving us soon. Thirdly, we also want to say welcome to the new Consul General, Mr. Amir Ismail. And fourthly, which is very important from my point of view, and that all of us, we realize that this is a very important issue. I want to say my heartfelt, in fact, the whole of the committees and the management's heartfelt thanks to our donors who, over the years, have very generously given us their time and given us their money to make sure that this institution runs smoothly. So these are the four objectives of this meeting today. So can we start the proceedings? I don't want to take any more of your time, and I would like to start the proceedings with the recitation of the Holy Quran by our Khatib, Maulana Asad Sahab. Maulana Asad Sahab, please.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Before I start the recitation, very briefly, I'd like to mention the purpose of this recitation. It is not only a tradition that we start our important meetings and gatherings and auspicious gatherings with the recitation, but the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he instructed us, كل أمر ذي بال لم يبدأ بالحمد فهو أقطع. Any important gathering, any auspicious gathering that starts without the praise of the Creator is incomplete. And then upon the end of the gatherings as well, we are instructed by the prophets, Prophet Abraham alayhi salam, peace be upon him, when he created and he built the house of Allah, وَإِذْ يَرْفَعُ إِبْرَاهِيمُ الْقَوَاعِدَ مِنَ الْبَيْتِ وَإِسْمَاعِيلُ رَبَّنَا تَقَبَّلْ مِنَّا. Such a great mission, upon completion, he asks Allah for acceptance. So the prayers can be said collectively, individually, in whatever way, means, forms, or shape we can do upon the completion of the gathering. Jazakallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لو أنزلنا هذا القرآن على جبل لرأيته خاشعا متصدعا من خشية الله. وتلك الأمثال نضربها للناس لعلهم يتفكرون. هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو عالم الغيب والشهادة هو الرحمن الرحيم. هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الملك القدوس السلام المؤمن المهيمن العزيز الجبار المتكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله عما يشركون. هو الله الخالق البارئ المصور له الأسماء الحسنى يسبح له ما في السماوات والأرض وهو العزيز الحكيم. صدق الله العظيم.
Recite a poem, which is in fact a dua. Okay? Come on. Come here. ठीक है.
लब पे आती है दुआ बन के तमन्ना मेरी. लब पे आती है दुआ बन के तमन्ना मेरी. जिंदगी शम्मा की सूरत हो खुदाया मेरी. जिंदगी शम्मा की सूरत हो खुदाया मेरी. लब पे आती है दुआ बन के तमन्ना मेरी. दूर दुनिया का मेरे दम से अंधेरा हो जाए. दूर दुनिया का मेरे दम से अंधेरा हो जाए. हर जगह मेरे चमकने से उजाला हो जाए. हर जगह मेरे चमकने से उजाला जाए. हो मेरे दम से यूं ही मेरे वतन की जीनत ही मेरे वतन की जीनत, जिस तरह फूल से होती है चमन की जीनत, जिस तरह फूल से होती है चमन की जीनत। जिंदगी हो मेरे परवान की सूरत या रब, जिंदगी हो मेरे परवान की सूरत या रब। इल्म की शम्मा से हो मुझको मोहब्बत या रब, इल्म की शम्मा से हो मुझको मोहब्बत या रब। लब पे आती है दुआ बन के तमन्ना मेरी, जिंदगी शम्मा की सूरत हो खुदाया मेरी। लब पे आती है दुआ बन के तमन्ना मेरी।
थैंक यू बेटे, माशाल्लाह माशाल्लाह। We are delighted and honored to have you all here. We have some wonderful guests here, some distinguished personality from the city of Birmingham, and we have some other guests from other cities. And we would like all of you to have an opportunity to say a few words. Now, before I move to that section of the program, can I please ask all the speakers to make sure that their time is not more than 2 minutes. So please, otherwise we'll be here all evening. So please make sure that you are not taking more than 2 minutes. We'd like you to speak for more time, but we don't have time this evening because we've got so many guests. So hopefully next time we will have more time and we'll give you more time. So can I first of all call Chaudhry Muhammad Afzal Sahab, the chairman of this mosque, to give his welcome address.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Lord Lieutenant, Mr. John Crabtree, His Excellency Sayyid Ahmad Maroof, His Excellency Amar Ismail, and Right Honorable Shabana Mahmood, Member of Parliament for Ladywood, in whose constituency the Central Mosque is situated. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening, Assalamu Alaikum. I am delighted to see so many distinguished guests gathered here today. On behalf of Birmingham Central Mosque, I welcome you all. Rather, I would have liked to mention each and every name, but you would appreciate it is not possible. But collectively, I thank you, each and every one of you, for in this holiday month of August, for sparing your time and coming to our event. This evening, we have also gathered to celebrate the Pakistan 70th independence. And as you know that 14th August 1947 is a very important date for the Pakistanis because that was the date when the Indian subcontinent was divided into Pakistan and India. And during that process, thousands of people gave their life, unfortunately, which could have been avoided, but that is what so happened. So today we must pay tribute to all those who gave their lives for the creation of Pakistan. And above all, we should not forget and we should pay our warmest tribute to the founder of Pakistan, Qaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, who single-handedly created, with his efforts along with his colleagues, the nation of Pakistan. And Pakistan, in terms of population, is the 6th largest country in the whole world. So today we are also celebrating that. Apart from that, it is also a great honor and an enormous pleasure to work with Sayyid Ahmad Maroof on many community issues, such as national ID cards, visas, and others. And today, this function is also saying farewell to Sayyid Ahmad Maroof, who is, on one hand, we will miss him, but on the other hand, we wish him well because he is being promoted and he is going to Kenya as a Deputy High Commissioner. So good luck, Mr. Maroof, for your new career. Although we will miss him in Birmingham. While he was here for the last 3 years, I have worked with him very closely. And frankly, he has done a lot of good things which Pakistani community would always remember. And the foremost thing which he did is, he moved the Pakistan consulate from a very old building which was unable to provide all the facilities to a very new building which is fully furnished and where all the facilities are available for community gathering, for passport, visa section, and also for the ID cards. And some of you who have visited the embassy, you would appreciate that I think this new building is worthwhile for the Pakistani community who live in this country. Although we are British citizens, but obviously our origin is from Pakistan. So therefore, on one hand, we are British citizens, but at the same time, we are originally migrated, our grandfathers, our fathers, they migrated from Pakistan. And I think many people may not know this, that the largest Pakistani outside Pakistan, they are in UK, but mostly they are in Birmingham. Although sometimes there is a myth that Pakistani origin people are mostly in Bradford, but that is factually not true, because Bradford comparatively is much smaller than Birmingham, so percentage-wise there may be large number of Pakistani origin British people. But in Birmingham, we are the largest. We almost make about 20% of Birmingham population, which is about 200,000. And also in terms of migrants, I think we are the largest component of the city of Birmingham. So once again, I would like to thank Mr. Maroof. Have done several things. He also connected with the other communities as well, and some of the things which he did, for example, that he made sure that he also created a link with Shakespeare's Birthday Trust. So you could say that he created a link between the poet of West with the poet of East. And as you know, that poet of East, Sir Dr. Allama Muhammad Iqbal, he was a very famous, and he also took part in the freedom movement to create Pakistan. Similarly, he also have some other functions like this mountaineering and also some other group and some outside activities, although there are many, and as our secretary have told me that my speech should not be, and I hope he would give me, he would give me and one or two other speakers few-minute exceptions. So with that, I would once again like to pay tribute to Sayyid Ahmad Maroof for the wonderful work which he has done for the Pakistani community. And now no longer there are any queues for ID cards or passport or visa. Whenever you go, there's a very good appointment system and people are getting all those facilities. And for our guests who may not be from Pakistan, can I tell you that even though we are Pakistani, but because we are British citizens, so whenever we have to go to Pakistan, we have to get a visa. And, and that is the reason that Pakistan embassy is so important to us, that if we want to go back to our roots, we have to still get a visa. I think that happened back in 1990s when British government imposed visa restrictions. So the Pakistan government also put these reciprocal restrictions. But there is one exemption in the sense is that if you get this ID card, then you are exempt from visa for 10 years. And the duration of this ID card is 10 years. So if you got that, then at least you got this multiple visa. And that's why we make this distinction of ID card and the visa. With that, wish you best luck, Mr. Sayyid Ahmed Maroof, and hope that you will not forget Birmingham. And while you got some time, you will always visit us back again. Thank you.
Chaisa, thank you very much.
Sorry, I forgot to welcome. I forgot to welcome our new Consul General, Mr. Amir Ismail. We welcome you, and I hope that you would continue the good work which Mr. Ahmed Maroof was carrying. You will continue that good work. So welcome to Birmingham, sir. Thank you.
Chaisa, thank you very much indeed. Can I now move the program on a little bit? I have a recording here of the national anthem of Pakistan, and I'd like to play that, and I would like everybody to stand for that, please. दबा दे यार Pakistan, Pakistan, Pakistan. Okay, move along now. The program should, we have stopped a little bit, running short of time again. We have our keynote speaker today is Lord Lieutenant Mr. John Crabtree, OBE. Could I please ask Mr. John Crabtree? We'll give you 3 minutes. We'll give you 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
I'm going to start by just before I start talking very fast indeed, so I get to the end quickly. I'm going to thank the chairman here for inviting me this evening to the Central Mosque again. It's a huge privilege for Diane and I to be here. We love coming here, and it means a lot to us to be invited for this evening. So we've got a couple of consul generals and some fellow guests. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I'm new to the role. I've only been in the role this year, so I only met Maroof recently, and I immediately liked what I saw. I was disappointed, if I'm honest, when he told me that he would shortly be moving on, because I thought we would get on pretty well. But after New York and Nepal and London, of course, at last he secured the top job on the planet, which was to be the Consul General in Birmingham. So I'm very confused as to what could possibly be a promotion after that, so I do wish him well with that. But from all accounts, as we've heard, and so many people here tonight actually have told me, he's done a terrific job while he's been Consul General here. So I know that he's brought the consular well into the 21st century. I've heard a lot about the changes he's made, particularly around bureaucracy and procedures, and engaging with the internet, and particularly making the consulate more transparent and more available to people, and opening up and generally improving the systems. And he's leaving you with a terrific legacy, and good luck with that. But beyond that, from my perspective, what Maruf has done is he's reached out to Birmingham at large. And this has been so well received by our many communities, and I've heard that on my travels over the last 8 months. So beyond just doing that, but supporting women's groups, organising musical and poetry recitals. You can tell I went to the town hall for bodybuilding. You should have seen me before I went. But all the time he's been doing that, of course, he's kept alive the richness and the culture of the Pakistani heritage, which is a difficult balancing act, and we must applaud him for that. Just to echo the chairman's words, the last census, the last reliable data, reveal that there are over 200,000 British Pakistani living in the West Midlands. Over 150,000 of those live in our great city here. Of the total UK population of Pakistani heritage, we look after, or we have in our city, 20%. And I was born in this great city, so in my many years, not quite 70 years since Pakistan became independent, but not far short, I've lived and I've trained and I've worked alongside British Pakistani all my life. And I know from first hand that their contribution, your contribution to our social, economic and cultural welfare has been remarkable. So just take one example. When I started work in the early 1970s, Birmingham was a prosperous city. But as a direct consequence of me starting work, it set off onto 40 years of economic decline. Every year for 40 years, our GVA in this city was less than the year before. That's a pretty stark statistic. And of course, we know the consequences. We see a lot of deprivation, don't we, and social exclusion throughout the city as a result of those 40 years. Now, that's been reversed in the last 2 or 3 years. There was a time I thought it was inevitable, it would just carry on, but it has been reversed. And there are estimated 15 to 20,000 Asian businesses in the West Midlands region. And I'm convinced that the energy and the drive and the ambition of the British Pakistani have played a huge part in that economic upturn. I mean, I know that as a fact, and I can prove it. And it's so important that your contribution is recognised. And quite often I don't think it is. My responsibility is to promote honours, Queen's Award for Enterprise, Queen's Award for Voluntary Services, and not enough of the Pakistani heritage community in West Midlands get recognised. My good friend here, Nasir, is an MBE, and he's a leader in the community, and he's now a deputy lieutenant, but we could do some more. So, part of my job is to get into your community and make sure that you are recognised. Maruf's work here in supporting his community, as I said, but also he's reached out to the community at large, and it's been so significant that he's done so. These are stressful times, of course, aren't we? The Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, said only very recently, of course, himself a British Pakistani, his family moved here to London in the 1960s. He said, it's more important now than ever that we focus on those things which unite us. And I know that in his time here, Maruf has subscribed to that sentiment wholeheartedly. And I'm very much looking forward to working with you as your successor. Lastly, he has a certain charm, of course. And it wasn't long into our first meeting that I found myself saying that I would join in the celebration of the independence of Pakistan and the remembrance of the events of partition by encouraging my wife, Diana, and my 12-year-old daughter to go up Ben Nevis this Sunday with him. And all I can say is that Maruf is very fortunate that this event is taking place today, because if it was on Sunday night or next week, I might have something very different to say to him. I didn't know about the bodybuilding when I met him, of course. So I'm not even going to see him on this trek, am I? He's going to be miles up there, and we're going to be slogging away behind. But Maruf, it's been a pleasure to get to know you. And everybody in this room thanks you for what you've done. And all the communities do, and we wish you well in Nairobi, a city which we've both been to a few times and love dearly. You'll have a terrific time there, and you'll make the same contribution there, I'm sure, that you've made here. Thank you very much.
My next speaker
Too long, apparently.
is our distinguished daughter, Ms. Shabana Mahmood. and to say to her, you've only got 2 minutes. She's such a wonderful speaker that it is excruciating for me to say that, and I'm sure she will feel the same. Shabana, please.
Jazakallah. Assalamu alaikum, everybody, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure for me to be able to join you all here this evening. I always talk fast, so I'm going to do my absolute best to keep my remarks short and to the point. I just wanted to say something about partition before paying tribute to Saeed Ahmed Maroof, who is sadly leaving the centre of the known universe. That will be Birmingham. But just on partition, because it is the 70th anniversary, and I don't know how many of you here in the audience this evening have been following the BBC's fantastic series on partition. I think it's been a brilliant bit of public service programming, actually. And to be honest with you, I kind of would have held myself out as somebody who knew quite a lot about partition already in my own family, who are both of Pakistani but also Kashmiri origin. Partition has a particular resonance for us, and I've grown up hearing the stories of my grandparents and my parents who saw that time and lived through that time, and have testimony from their great-grandparents of what happened when India was split into India and Pakistan. But actually, I've learned a huge amount from that series of programming myself. And we have this 70th anniversary. We're celebrating independence, which for any nation to gain independence from empire is a truly wonderful moment. And of course, for everybody who is Pakistani or Pakistani heritage, it's not just independence, but it's actually the birth of an entirely new country. And that is something that is always to be celebrated, but it came at a huge cost. 1 million people lost their lives, and 15 million people were forced to move when the provinces of Punjab and Bengal were split in a quite arbitrary way. I mean, the thing I learned from this series of programming was Mr. Radcliffe, a gentleman who had no experience of India, literally came along and drew a line across Punjab and then drew another line across Bengal. And people found their lives uprooted. And for many people who lived through that era, it must have felt like the absolute end of the world. And I think that when we're recognizing independence, we should understand that it came at a huge human cost, that partition had a huge human cost, that we, the British, had a role to play. And for us as the diaspora community here in Britain, and for many British-born people of South Asian stock, that story has a very particular resonance. But it really matters today as well, I think, to understand that interesting interplay between identity and how it can be shaped, because we are living through a really, I think, dangerous moment for the world, a moment of populism. We see rising hatred all over the world, and in societies which have been held out as examples and beacons of democracy, we see the rise of supremacists, whether that is white supremacists or would-be Muslim supremacists or other types of supremacists, people who say you're either exactly like us or you are worthless, you are better off dead. And that is not a creed that anybody I know signs up to. That is not a creed that belongs to any of the great world religions. That is not a creed that is accepted by any true Muslim believer. But we are living through this dangerous moment. And of course, for people whose heritage lies in the heritage of partition, we know exactly how it is. One day you are all friends, the next day people are killing one another. We know things can change in an instant. So this settlement that we have in our country and across Europe and other parts of the world, where we respect democracy, where we try and live together, where we celebrate diversity and where we see it as a strength, that is now actually more important than ever. So I think it's really important for our community, particularly of South Asian stock, to remember our partition stories, to understand what happened to our great-grandparents and our grandparents, what they lived through, and to make sure that we bear witness to that and do everything we can in our power to make sure nothing ever of a similar nature happens again, but also that we are steadfast in seeing off this rise of populism, this rise of hatred across the world, and that we reach out to one another, not simply those who are the same as us, our fellow brothers and sisters in Islam, for example, but our fellow brothers and sisters in humanity, because at the end of the day, we are all God's creation, no matter who we are or where we come from. I would also, as I say, like to pay tribute to Saeed Ahmed Maroof. I smiled when Councillor Afzal was paying tribute to the tremendous work that he did, moving the consulate from the old Bismillah building into its new venue. And I smiled because obviously the British Pakistani community, British Kashmiri community, loves to go back and visit family in Kashmir and in Pakistan, in Azad Kashmir and in Pakistan. And that is something that, of course, we need visas for, and that causes counsellors in particular a whole heap of stress when people are trying to get their visas, lastminute.com. And obviously, as a Member of Parliament, I've had my phone ring on a number of occasions trying to help people speed up the system. But although we like to visit our country of origin, we do expect British standards of service when we're trying to get over there. And the thing that Maruf was really successful in implementing and achieving was a really British standard of service. We all know exactly where to queue now when we go to the new consulate, and I think that that's left the community very, very happy. And I smile because that's just a wonderful way of seeing the way in which the community celebrates both its origin, its heritage, but also its nation as Britain, and the things that we like to do as the British. So thank you so much, Maruf, for your tremendous work, for the great achievements you've had, but also for showing the wider Birmingham community that Pakistan isn't just to be associated with the things that you hear of in the news, but that there's a huge cultural offer, there's an offer around music, around poetry, and that the Pakistani community has a lot more to contribute. And I think you played a really leading role in that. I'm very sorry that you're leaving, but best of luck in your new job, and a huge good luck to your successor. He has very big shoes to fill. Jazakallah khair for listening. Thank you.
Before I invite the next speaker, I have an important announcement. Car number CE14, V for Victory, H for Hotel, yes. B for Bravo. This car is in an accident outside, so would you please go into the yard and see the people who are there. No problem. No problem. You're welcome. And I now invite my next speaker. That's Dr. Diana Owen, the Chief Executive of Shakespeare's Birthplace Trust.
Thank you.
Please. Of course you can.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Like my fellow speakers this evening, I'm truly delighted and honoured to be here tonight, and also a little sad, of course. Sometimes in life, there are people that you meet who you know instantly are going to be quite extraordinary human beings, and with whom you make an immediate connection. And for me, Maruf Saab was one of those people. It's almost as if I feel Maruf was born to undertake this role, representing Pakistan and her interests overseas, and also supporting Pakistani communities wherever they are in the world and reaching out the hand of friendship. It has been a very great pleasure to get to know Maruf Saab and his family and the team at the consulate, and to work with others in the Pakistani community here in Birmingham, such as Makhdoom Shishti, are you here? Yes, there. And Professor Durrani of the Iqbal Academy. Especially, we celebrated the lives of Allama Iqbal and William Shakespeare together. It's no doubt that both those writers have a continuing global appeal and relevance today. And we were really thrilled last year when it was the 400th anniversary of Shakespeare's birth in 2016 to welcome members of the Pakistani community to Stratford-upon-Avon to celebrate the birthday with us, with dancing and music and poetry in the streets. And we also celebrated last year the 139th anniversary of Iqbal's birth in November at the Shakespeare Centre in Stratford-upon-Avon. And it was a fantastic event, bringing together both our communities. And we had music and poetry and drama and even dancing, I remember, came out. We were very privileged to host that and to celebrate again, I think, the universal human values that both those poets have explored, and what it means to be human. Maruf Saab has been the driving force behind these events, and we were delighted that he was able to be our guest of honour at the official opening this year of Shakespeare's new place in August. In fact, exactly 1 year ago yesterday in Stratford-upon-Avon. Maruf Saab really graced our occasion and spoke very eloquently of the partnership between Stratford and Birmingham based around these two great writers. That partnership had begun about 5 years earlier when we installed a special plaque in honour of Iqbal in the Shakespeare Centre. And this is now much enjoyed and admired by our many visitors from all over the world that come to Stratford. And I know that Maruf Saab has also encouraged many more community events here. I'm fascinated by this bodybuilding event, which again I unfortunately missed. I know there's a chess event coming up and various literary and cultural and other events. And taken together, these all add up to a really strong outreach program which delivers real benefits to all of our communities and breaks down those stereotypes and that cultural ignorance and isolation which does so much harm today in our society. And as previous speakers have said, we live in difficult, even dangerous times, and it feels to me that for many reasons those challenges seem even greater now. And as we mark the 70th anniversary of the founding of Pakistan, I think we now have the opportunity to reimagine our futures whilst also learning the lessons of the past. And sometimes I feel quite despondent about the world we are passing on to our children and our grandchildren. But then I am very heartened when I remember that there are men and women like Maruf Saab and his team and other guests here this evening, and all of us here this evening, who believe passionately in international friendship and understanding, in tolerance, humanity and freedom, and who know that there are much more things that bind us together than there are that separate us as humans. Maruf, it has been a great pleasure to know you, and I wish you and your family every happiness in Nairobi. And I do hope that you will return to visit us one day. We will miss you. And even if you just come as a visitor, you're very, very welcome in Stratford-upon-Avon. As Shakespeare said, parting is such sweet sorrow. And this is a small souvenir from Stratford to take with you to Nairobi.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are running about half an hour late. So this is not bad for a Pakistani event. We are usually about 1.5 hours late. So we are running about half an hour late. Could I please ask the speakers who are coming now, please be as short as you possibly can. Thank you. And now I invite Mr. Naveed Malik, who, sorry, he's not here. Can I now invite Colonel Richard Maybury? Oh, he's not to the extent. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm making up the time. Yeah. Can I ask Dr. Alan McAdam now to please say a few words?
Is this on? Yes, it is. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much for inviting me tonight. I'm Scottish, so I'll be very terse. As Director of Birmingham Museums, it's been a great pleasure to get to know Mr. Maruf as the Consul General of Pakistan. We at Birmingham Museums have all been very impressed by his enthusiasm for culture and heritage and his dedication to the community he serves. At Birmingham Museums, we also believe in community engagement, and we work for all the communities in this very diverse city.
Thank you.
It has been a great pleasure to meet someone so like-minded, and we only regret that he is now moving on. I would say moving on to even greater things, but what could be greater than working in Birmingham? I believe that in his spare time, one of Mr. Maruf's hobbies is painting. Now, as Director of Birmingham Museums, I have the privilege of caring for one of the greatest civic art collections in the world. We also, of course, have the fabulous Anglo-Saxon Staffordshire Hoard. So I hope he will accept this little gift of objects that will remind him of the collection. I hope that when he is far away in Nairobi, he will think of us, and it comes with all our best wishes for the future.
that's okay. That's okay. Richard, although you missed your turn, you have to go and look at your car. But would you like to say a few words?
I would. Thank you very much after that slightly unscheduled interruption there. I'm just relieved that it wasn't my fault for once. Lord Lieutenant, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. First of all, Chairman, thank you very much indeed for your kind invitation this evening. I really feel like I'm speaking on behalf of all the armed forces in the West Midlands, so the Royal Navy, who are in the ascendancy over there, the Army and the Royal Air Force. The Royal Air Force, of course, who celebrate a significant anniversary themselves next year, their 100th anniversary. But I should very much like to thank Mr. Maroof, I know for his services to the wider community over the last 3 years. And we've already heard, I know that he's directed and overseen significant change, including relocating the consulate and very much overhauling the ways of working, within the consulate, as well as reaching out to the wider community. My aim, really, from the armed forces perspective, is for the armed forces in the West Midlands, in line with our sort of national programme, to better integrate with and to foster a better mutual understanding with the civil, the civic, the civilian community. And we need to do that for all sorts of reasons. And a huge part of that civil community is, of course, the British Pakistani community. And the values of the British Pakistani community are very similar to the values of the British Armed Forces. Things like commitment, selfless commitment, and loyalty, integrity, moral courage and respect for others, leading by example. And despite our shared values and our shared history, we need, however, to keep working hard at this and promoting that mutual understanding. So that's why the support of Mr. Maroof and other members of the community like him is so important. So again, I'd like to thank you for what you've done in Birmingham and the wider West Midlands over the last 3 years. Wish you the very best on behalf of the armed forces in the West Midlands for your future, you and your family in Nairobi, and to wish your successor the very best of luck, and I look forward to getting to know him as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We have to keep our friends in the police suite with us. and without a speaker from the police, we had Nadeem Malik, who's not here. So I'm going to now request Mr. Khan to say a few words on his behalf.
Thank you very much indeed. I don't know if that's working. Let me just. Thank you very much indeed. The bad news is I'm not Navid Malik. The even worse news is my name's. Thank you very much. My name's Gary Khan. I'm with the West Midlands Police, and it's an absolute delight to be here. Honoured guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's a special evening, and to be here is a privilege. Whether we're celebrating the 70th anniversary of Pakistani independence, whilst being mindful and respectful to the sacrifice and sadness that some of that brought with it, the departure of Mr. Maroof and all the good work that he's done here, and the arrival of Mr. Ismail, and good luck to him. I'm sure he'll be absolutely fantastic in the role. It's a delight to be with you this evening. You don't have to look too far or watch too many news programmes to see signs of discord and disharmony in the world. You have to look a little bit harder to see signs of more positive things, and that's a sadness, because those of us who live and work in Birmingham and indeed in the wider West Midlands know that the good works of all our communities and the contribution and achievements of the Pakistani community in particular will far, far outweigh anything that's bad. The good works will always drown out anything that's bad. And so not just on my own behalf this evening, but on behalf of everyone in the West Midlands Police, all of our officers, all of our police staff, our community support officers and our volunteer special constables, on behalf of all of us, can I just simply say thank you very much indeed for your support, and more importantly perhaps, thank you very much for all of your friendship. Thank you.
Thank you. We are very quickly running towards the end of the program. One little break I'm going to take here, and ask one of our trustees, Mr. Zafar Alam, to read a couplet which he has chosen to read about independence or freedom.
Assalamu alaikum and good evening to all. As we celebrate the independence of Pakistan, a poet describes the importance of independence to both individual and nation in a brief couplet. As we celebrate the independence of Pakistan, a poet describes the importance of independence to both individual and nation in a brief couplet. He says, "Ishq par qurban kar दूं अपनी जिंदगी, इश्क पर कुर्बान कर दूं अपनी जिंदगी, लेकिन आज़ादी पर मेरा इश्क भी कुर्बान है." Although I would give up everything for love, but for freedom I can sacrifice even my love. For freedom I can sacrifice even my love. And lastly, I would say that if you serve the people, then you are appreciated. And what all the speakers have said about Mr. Maroof, I have not heard that before. Even my wife wanted a visa, and it was done within a week. Thank you very much.
We are now moving along towards the end of the program, and I ask Sayyid Ahmad Maroof to say a few words.
Can I go a little over 2 minutes?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. First of all, I would like to thank all of you here, Lord Lieutenant, Afzal Sahab, Shabana Mahmood MP, Right Honorable Shabana Mahmood MP, and ladies and gentlemen. I have never in my life received so much praise, and I'm really humbled. And although my flight is still a few days away, I think I'm already flying. So I hope very soon I'll be able to bring my feet back down on the ground. Basically what I did during my 3 years of service over here was what my government wanted me to do. There was nothing, to be very honest, there was nothing extraordinary about it. That's what we are supposed to do. If there needs to be an improvement, we have to improve the things. That's a very simple and very logical and very basic concept. Improve the things. Don't try to reinvent the wheel, but do improve the things wherever it is needed. And if I just kind of share with you 2 incidents, if I may call them incidents. One is definitely an incident. The gentleman, I think he is in right now in this gathering, Mr. Yusuf, if you can raise your, yeah, there he is. At the drop of hat, he would bring in a petition against the consulate when I was here. And rightfully so. There were so many issues facing the consulate. And the time came when I had to hide from him. But today, and I shared with him, I started calling him Mr. Petition. And there he is. And if he's smiling at me now, then I think I really have done something good. It was really hard to... Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. And then I also remember Shabana Mahmood MP, when I wasn't here, but I did see when I was posted here, I used to do this web surfing and to get to know how the city is and how the consulate is. And I came across a picture in which you were protesting against the consulate. You remember that? I'm trying to draw a contrast. There was time when Shabana Mahmood was protesting outside the consulate. And then, thanks to Allah, there was a time when she was inaugurating the new consulate with us. That was fantastic. I will never forget that. You see the difference. Over the last 3 years, there were many challenges, and acquiring a new building was just one of the many challenges. Then there were like appointment issues, and then the streamlining of the procedures and everything. I would be doing a great injustice if I do not mention my vice consul, Mia Azmat Farooq. Azmat Farooq is my unsung hero. What you see, the order and all this praise that I'm receiving and taking everything with me, a great part of it goes to Azmat Farooq. He has been working behind the scenes all the time. And without him, I don't think I would have been able to take the consulate to the level where it is today. And I think all said and done, there is always a room for improvement. The consulate, the new consul general and his team are here with their eyes and ears open. If you have any suggestion, if you come across any issues that you think need to be addressed by the consulate, please do come forward and share your problems. And in case Mr. Yusuf has another petition, please present to Mr. Amar Ismail. He would be more than willing to So I wish a very good luck to my new Consul General. He happens to be my batchmate. We were together through thick and thin. And he is more than capable. His CV is fantastic. He's served in Geneva. He's served in Nepal. He has done multilateral, bilaterals, and so on and so forth. He's a fantastic guy. I have absolutely no doubt that he will raise the bar further higher up. And before I close my remarks, I would just like to say that I will cherish the memories that I have gathered over the last 3 years from all of you, the wonderful Burmese, Pakistanis, British Pakistanis, wider British community. Diana Owen especially, I will never forget your kind of cooperation that you extended to all of us. Mr. John Crabtree, while you'll be climbing the mountain, I might be smiling there in Dubai. I'm sad that I may not be able to actually do the climbing because it clashes with my time frame. Yeah. Well, you can think that perhaps it was planned, but it wasn't planned like that. It is purely coincidental, and I wish I could do that. We did last year. We could do again. But I wish you good luck with your climb, and inshallah you will, definitely, definitely. And very quickly, the climb is not just climbing the mountain. We are celebrating 70 years of Pakistan, and we are climbing for a good cause. We are raising funds, and I must mention Nasir Awan Sahib here. He has raised the highest amount of funds. I know, and I think I'm second or third in the list. Am I? I'm the last one, yeah. So it's been a wonderful experience doing this. This was for the first time that we embarked on such a venture. But hopefully, I think we are almost through. It's only now a matter of few days when we climb and come back down. And hopefully, if it is possible, we might be able to make it an annual event of the consulate. So again, coming back to thank you all for being so wonderful British Pakistanis, extended British community, and all your love and your cooperation. That was remarkable. And I must mention here another unsung hero. That is Mr. Azhar Mahmood. He's not here. He's in Pakistan. But I think he was a tremendous support in all the endeavors that I undertook in the last 3 years. Soon he'll be back, and I'm sure he will continue to support the consulate in all that we do. I thank you all very much for this wonderful gathering and acknowledging what we have tried to do. I wish very good luck to Amar Ismail. And with these words, I thank you all very much. बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया आप सबका. Pakistan Zindabad.
My last speaker for this evening is our incoming Consul General, Mr. Amir Ismail.
Thank you very much, sir. And with all that has already been said in appreciation of the outgoing Consul General, I am humbled and also at the same time I am encouraged to see such a good cooperation between and among all the Pakistani community, all these Kashmiris predominantly living here in Birmingham. And I would try to raise the bar, try to fit in the shoes Maroof is leaving behind. So what I would just like to appreciate is that starting with petition, now turning into cooperation and now into celebration, all these things, the developments have been very positive, and we will try to improve further upon whatever improvements have been achieved by Mr. Maroof. And still I would appreciate the feedback and the suggestions of all these Pakistani communities and everyone who can just let us know. Our doors are open to any type of suggestion so that we could improve our working methods. And at the same time, Ben Nevis and the 70 years celebrations that Pakistan is right now going through, that is also very encouraging that the chess competition is there, bodybuilding is there, Ben Nevis climbing is there, so many different versatile activities. And I look forward to further improving and further taking all of us together towards better understanding and improvement in our service delivery and in our relationship. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please be patient for a few more minutes. We are just coming towards the end of the event this evening. So I now call upon Consul Muhammad Afzal, Chairman of the Mosque, to present a memento, appreciation memento to Maroof Sahab.
This is memento, a small gift for the appreciation of what Mr. Maroof has done for the Pakistani community.
Sorry, sir, with your permission, very quickly. Not because Mr. Afzal has given me the shield, but I forgot to mention his name. You know, the new building that we are right now situated? He was the culprit. He got us this building. And I must acknowledge that, and I think he deserves a lot of applause for that. Thank you, sir. I'm sorry I forgot to mention your name. That was I was missing a very important point. Thank you.
Can I ask Pastor Ajmal Chughtai to come forward, please? Please do. Please do. Mr. Sajid Yunus, please. Mr. Sajid Yunus.
Can I just present apologies from Assistant Chief Constable Nav Malik, who unfortunately isn't with us this evening. Just on his behalf from Cambridgeshire Police and from Telford Police and Telford Fire Service. Thank you to Mr. Maroof for all the incredible work he's done in Birmingham. Thank you, sir.
Thanks. Vote of thanks. All that remains now is for me to say a few thank you to people who have been behind this event working very hard. And those include Muzaffar Ali and Ali Akhtar of Roti Junction, who are sponsoring this event this evening, along with many other people. They are not the only sponsors. My thanks to Abdullah Chaudhry again for helping us this evening with this event. I thank the kitchen staff. They have been working very hard, and you'll see that they are still working. My thanks to all mosque staff and all volunteers who give us their services and their time on a Friday and even on other days. And I also like to thank Mr. Chishti for arranging this event in such a short time, such a wonderful event. And I thank most of all my thanks to all of you for being here this evening. Thank you. Now please enjoy your dinner. No more interruption. Chuk de yaar.